Now, as for the topic of the deity Kurukulla, we actually touched on this subject about a year and a half ago, maybe a little longer. But I don't know that we were very thorough with the topic. It was very short. But Kurukulla is another one of those large subjects, similar to Avalokiteshvara, similar to Tara, similar to Marici. So for any of these forms, figurative forms, then we do have the three main topics of art history, religious context, and iconography. And we focus more on the iconography and the art history, and we leave the real deep religious context to religious studies teachers. But when studying Kurukulla, there really are some key points and some structure that can be followed to make the journey a lot easier. So there's six main topics for the study of Kurukulla, and they are the number of faces and arms. Second is colors. Third is compendia, texts, and source tantras. Fourth is names. What are the names of all the different individual Kurukullas? Fifth is the Siddha tradition and possibly the lineage that the Kurukulla is coming down through. And then the sixth is 4 classes of Tantra. Now we could add a seventh, we could add a miscellaneous topics, but we'll see how it goes. So for faces and arms, generally we only have a one-faced Kurukulla. I'm not really familiar with a 3 or 5-faced Kurukulla. It is possible that it is out there somewhere, but I just can't recollect from reading or from observing. So we really have 4 different types based on faces and arms, and we have a one-faced, 2-armed, one-faced, 4-armed, one-faced, 6-armed, and a one-faced, 8-armed. And these are as a central figure. Now, in terms of colors, we really only have 2 at this time, and that is red, which is by far the most common color for Kurukulla, and then we have white. And Kurukulla in the red form is typically semi-peaceful and semi-wrathful in demeanor. Kurukulla in the white form is often peaceful in demeanor. Third, we have the compendia texts, the groups of different compendiums, and for this we have a lot, and that really should be a separate topic. The majority of forms of Kurukulla we understand come out of the commentarial compendia literature, not really out of the source texts of the Siddha Tantra, the Arya Tara Kurukulla Kalpa Tantra, or the Hevajra Tantra. There's many different sources for Kurukulla in other deities' tantras. There are only really 2. There's really the Aryatara Kurukulla Kalpa Tantra is the main text, but it's a later tantra, and we can find Kurukulla mentioned in many other tantras and explained with mantras, with practices. So there's many texts related to the iconography, describing the iconography. Now, names and traditions. Names and traditions really has to do with Sarma tradition and then the Nyingma tradition. And then are we looking at Kurukulla as its own independent entity? Are we looking at Kurukulla as an emanation of Hevajra? Are we looking at Kurukulla as related to and a power deity of Tara? And then the different names for all of these, different Sanskrit names or the Tibetan names or the tradition names, and how and how Kurukulla really came into the Himalayas from India. Then we have the Nyingma tradition. Then we have to look at revealed treasure and what role that plays, if any. I'm not really familiar with that side of it. Then we have the 4 classes of Tantra, and the 2 middle classes, Acharya and Yoga, from my understanding so far, is they're not really applicable. We don't really have Kurukulla mentioned in Charya and Yoga. It's primarily in the Kriya Tantra, and then it's in the Yoga Niruttara, the Anuttara Yoga, the 4th, the highest class. Now, for miscellaneous topics, we could also look at mandala configurations, 5 solitary figure mandala, then we can have a 5 deity, then we can have 15 deity. Those are the main configurations that I'm aware of. But then we could also look at, as a miscellaneous topic, we could look at Kurukulla as a consort of another deity. And we can also look at Kurukulla as a retinue figure in another deity's mandala. And then we can look at Kurukulla-like forms. So they can look like or sound like or act like Kurukulla, but they're not. And this can be both in Buddhism, but also in the Bön religion. So these are the main topics. It's really these 5, and then a few miscellaneous thrown in at the end. But it's faces and arms, colors, the compendia and source tantra, source literature, names, Siddha tradition and lineage, and then the 4 classes of Tantra. So don't forget, press the like button. It helps us with our ratings. And you can also subscribe, you can ask questions, and you can help support the work we do by joining HAR on Patreon.